Hello, and welcome to the very first Protest Access Accessathon. My name is Micah Fahar, and I am an organizing member and co-founder of Protest Access. For those of you who are new to what we do here, we at Protest Access aim to make some of the most important conversations about the current human rights movement as accessible to as many people as possible. You may not know that this organization has only existed since early June, in the wake of the Black Lives Matter protests that followed the murder of George Floyd. Social media has been a huge boon in many ways, as it allows for an unprecedented amount of information to be shared at an incredible rate. Anyone with a phone camera can record and post instances of police brutality and authoritarianism to their Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and shed light on a topic that is often skewed or downright ignored by the mainstream media. So, when protests against police brutality were by and large met with more police brutality, brave protesters did record. They got involved, they helped and protected one another, and we only got to see that side of the movement from Twitter videos. Unfortunately, much of what is shared on social media is also partially or completely inaccessible to many people. This lack of accessibility meant that deaf, hard of hearing, blind, and visually impaired people, among others, were excluded from the conversation. Ultimately, Protest Access grew out of a small group of children and siblings of deaf adults, communication access service providers, and others involved in deaf communities, who started writing up transcripts of the videos that they were seeing on Twitter. That way, their friends and family would understand their Twitter timelines as well as anyone else and would have the information they needed to get involved. From there, Protest Access grew in a big way. In addition to basic transcripts, we added visual descriptions for blind users and turned our transcripts into captions. We also extended our reach to Facebook and Instagram. What began as a non-organized group chat on Twitter became a formalized system of volunteers and workflow, with over 100 people all around the world donating their time to work on over 600 pieces of content, ranging from social media videos to picture-based memes. We continue to strive after months of consistent protests to bridge the access gap and make sure that everyone is included in the conversation. This is where the Accessathon comes in. When we first started up, one of the main draws of our service was the fast turnaround time we were able to provide. The fact that transcript and caption styles tend to be inconsistent, or that we're more likely to have typos or make minor mistakes, was fine because we were turning out our transcripts quickly. We were messy, but we got the job done. Including visual descriptions, however, changed the game. Visual description is an imperative aspect of the work we do as an accessibility-focused organization, but the depth of the work involved took most of us by surprise. There's an element of creativity and writing prowess to visual description that isn't necessary for basic transcripts. Visual descriptions must be evocative but concise, descriptive but not bogged down with excess detail. Needless to say, making descriptions for something as important as the Black Lives Matter protests is a bit of a daunting task, especially for the amateur volunteers who make up the majority of people who work with us. Because of that, our process began to slow down, and over the past few months there has been a severe backlog of content in our workflow. At one point, there were over 200 pieces of content that were stuck awaiting visual description. A few hardworking volunteers have managed to get us down into the 150s, but we still have content from June that is yet to be published in full on our social media pages. We want to change that, which is why we're launching this Accessathon. For the next 24 hours, our volunteers will be focused entirely on working through our visual description backlog. If you aren't currently a volunteer with Protest Access, you can still help out today. We have an Accessathon volunteer RSVP form linked both in the description for this video, as well as in the description of the Facebook event page. If you fill it out, our organizers will get you set up to join our Google Meets room. And don't worry if you're not a visual description expert, because every little bit counts. We would also like to invite you to join us for our live event today, which will be a Q&A with some of the Protest Access organizers. We will have a Zoom session starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will have a real-time transcriber and an ASL interpreter to offer communication access services, and we will also be recording the session to caption and post afterwards. If you aren't able to attend but still want us to answer your question, write into us on Twitter using the hashtag ProtestAccessathon. If you have shorter questions, we will also be responding to questions on social media throughout the day using the same hashtag. We will also be launching our GoFundMe today. Ultimately, we would love to pursue 501c3 nonprofit status, which will help us afford the tools we use to make our work possible, as well as help us extend our reach as a social justice, anti-oppression organization. Seeking nonprofit status is no easy task, so in the meantime, we will be fundraising so that we can make better use of our workflow platform, maintain our brand new website, which you can find at protestaccess.org, and have access to cloud storage for the many, many gigabytes of video files we go through. For more information about our fundraising needs, check out our GoFundMe page linked in the description of this video, as well as the description of the Facebook event. In addition to volunteering opportunities and our version of an AMA, we have a lineup of exciting resources related specifically to blind activism. Our praxis as an organization is built as much on the need for accessibility as it is on anti-oppression. So, as always, we want to recenter the focus on the disabled people who have been doing disability activism work for much longer and much more prolifically than we as an organization have. This is why today we will be featuring talks by blind activists Veronica Lewis, Holly Scott Gardner, and Jurgen Donaldson, as well as posting links to more talks, books, and blogs by other blind and visually impaired activists. The best way to understand the importance of accessibility for blind people is to engage with the work that's already being done by blind people. And finally, it has to be said, we couldn't do any of what we do without your support. So from the bottom of my heart and from all of us at Protest Access, thank you.